Hello, welcome back to the Swans Cast preview show. I'm joined by Ollie from the OK Football Show. Apologies, Ollie. I didn't
That
realise
was loud.
Yeah, maybe it was a bit louder than expected, but I do apologise for that. But welcome to the channel.
Yeah, thanks for having me and for deafening me in the process
It's
as
only the
well.
Welsh fans singing hymns and arias. It's something worth being deafened for. But yes, Ollie is obviously a Luton Town supporter, fan, and creator. And would you like to share where we can find your content? Obviously, we've just recorded the flip of this, so if you want to go check that out.
Yeah, so you can find us on Twitter or X at OK Football Show, but primarily we do everything on YouTube these days. You can find us at OK Football Show on YouTube. We don't just do Luton Town content though; we also do Championship content. So you can check out like our game week predictions, and we have a roundup of all the football from the weekend each game week that we do live at a pub in Luton. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds brilliant, actually. I have to get some tips off you sometime, maybe for live shows. So, but yeah, that sounds good. Go check that out. I'll put all the links in the description anyway, if you do want to head over there and see what's going on the OK Football Show, which Ollie was telling me is definitely not named after himself.
Got done dirty. I
Yeah,
did.
definitely. No, I agree with you. Okay, so anyway, Luton Town. So I do these videos this season. I have been starting off with a recap of last year, which there's obviously 6 teams in the league that were in the league last year. You're one of them. So can you just sort of talk us through what happened last season compared to the end result compared to expectations?
So last season we were always expected to go down, but it was about whether we would go down breaking Derby's records. And you know what? For the first half of the season, we really gave it our all in the Premier League. Considering we only spent about 20-25 million in the summer window, in comparison to look at how much Ipswich has spent. You know, there's spending money in a shrewd manner, and then there's just spaffing money up against the wall. And the Ipswich overpaid for a lot of people. So, and you can see their start has been sort of identical to our start from last season. If anything, we started better last season than Ipswich did this season. And then there was sort of a flip halfway through the season where it came almost a year ago today. We were playing Arsenal, and Rob Edwards thought, okay, I'm going to change the style, because he made no secret of the fact when he came in, Nathan Jones, who Swansea fans absolutely love because he's
Yeah,
one of the greatest football managers who's ever graced the Championship. Nathan Jones had a very set style of play. He had leaders throughout the team. So Rob Edwards came in the 22-23 season and realized he didn't have to change too much because the team managed itself. Brought in Nakamba and Drame, and it sort of snowballed, and we had a very tight defensive unit, and we got promoted in the playoffs, in case you weren't aware. And for the first half of the season, we were always in games, in Premier League games. Like, we only lost by more than 2 goals twice in the first half of the season, excluding the first 2 games, which were just baptisms of fire, because the step up from the champ to the Prem is mad. So then after the Arsenal game, we had a purple patch where the performances were just fantastic, and teams didn't really know what to make of us. And we had that instant classic 4-3 against Arsenal at Kenilworth Road, where we were leading 3-2. We had a 4-0 demolition of Brighton, where we were 2-0 up within 3 minutes. We had a 4-4 with Newcastle, and we had a 1-1 with Liverpool as well at home at that time. But then we got figured out, and then we started losing games by 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s. It got pretty crazy towards the back ends of the Premier League season. I think in a year we've conceded 100 goals under this new philosophy of Rob Edwards. It's not good. That's 100 goals in all competitions. So we've sort of carried it on this season. And at the beginning of the season, our owners well, Gary Sweet in particular, our CEO, and Rob Edwards both came out and said, we are aiming for promotion. And Rob Edwards was very candid in saying, we're going to be playing free-flowing, attacking football. And essentially, that just hasn't worked out. We have one of the lowest pass percentages in the league at the moment, pass completion percentages. And that was before we decided to revert back to basics. But as it turns out, we can't do the basics either. So we're losing games at an astonishing rate. Our home form is all right. We're 13th in the home table at home. There have been very unconvincing wins, other than a 3-0 against Watford, which was the most complete performance I can think of under Rob Edwards in the last year, other than that Brighton game. But since then, it's just been very sweaty 1-0 home wins, which has sort of kept us above the dotted line. Away from home, we've been absolutely atrocious. We conceded 12 goals in our last 3 away games against Borough, Leeds, and Norwich. So that brings us to current day, where we're not a happy camp.
Yeah, I kind of learnt a little bit, because I said on your video that I thought you were in a bit of a false position just based on the fact that you got relegated last season. But obviously, after you've just spoken through all of that and your assurance off camera that is not the case, at least under Rob Edwards anyway.
There are other factors.
Yeah.
There are other factors at play, though. The recruitment's been terrible. We only spent money on Mark McGuinness from Cardiff for a fee up to 10 million.
Wasn't he the future star player of massive proportions, though?
Yeah, well, he was bigged up quite a bit. I don't think he's worth 10 million, though, but it's fees up to 10 million. So
I think he barely kicked the ball
5.
for him, did he? He did well in League One, and then they started playing him a little bit, and then he went.
I honestly, I couldn't have told you who Mark McGuinness was before we signed him. He's not the most pacey of defenders, but to be honest, like, our back line is quite a shambles, so he fits right in, to be honest. That's just the transfers, and then there's I don't want to say attitudes of the players, but a lot of the players don't really feel switched on. And Gary Sweet, our CEO, alluded to this in our program notes, where he said unscrupulous agents after unscrupulous agents have been in touch selling a dream to our players, and been obviously saying, yeah, I can get you a Premier League move, I can get you here, I can get you there. So players that we thought would be absolutely smashing it this season, like Ted Mengi, who was he was revolutionary in the Premier League. It was fantastic. He's been capped for England under 21s as well. He's not looked interested. He really hasn't. And then we have players like Amari Bell, he didn't miss a game for us, and then he got one injury against Aston Villa in the Premier League, and now he's like stop start. He's injured. He's in and he's out. And then we have midfielders like Shanda Baptiste, who's just made of glass. And then we have our forwards, who most teams in the Championship would kill for either Colton Morris or Elijah Adebayo. And between them, they've looked a shadow of their former selves.
So you think they're just not interested in the league or playing at this level, or?
Well, Colton Morris looks very interested in playing at this level. He loves the club, and then there's Jordan Clark as well. Like, Colton Morris picked up 4 bookings just for Descent. He really is into it, but I think Colton Morris is angry at the rest of the players for not being into it. Like, for instance, he came on as a sub against Middlesbrough. He went straight into a player, and then he was saying to the other players, like, they're taking the effing piss out of you. I don't know if I could swear. Like, you could see him mouthing it to the rest of the players. I think he's into it, but players like Tahith Chong, they're not going back and doing their defensive duties. It's a real hodgepodge, and the recruitment hasn't helped as well, because we've had injuries to players like Alfie Doughty, who's out until New Year, and there's no replacement on the left flank for him. And obviously he's so crucial for creating all our chances. We don't create anything without Alfie Doughty. And we sold Chirag Bene to Ipswich. We didn't replace him. So we're really light. It's just a mess across the board.
I mean, we haven't got the biggest squad depth, but I think we don't have the other problems you just spoke about, maybe because it's the other end of the spectrum where everyone that we're signing is being sold that they can achieve the dream by going up with us, I guess, rather than the opposite where you've come down and then it's hard to switch them back on, which I know sometimes can be a tricky one after relegation. That's the argument, isn't it? Sometimes you can pay the big fee for some of the players there, but if you come down with them, they don't know when to put the graft in to get back. We didn't have a huge issue with that when we got relegated all them years ago. I think we did have that issue with a lot of the squad. We were lucky in the way that we could rely on our youth team to be our championship team. Because we were in the Premier League for 7 years, we could invest so much in our youth academy, which didn't get a look in while we were in the Premier League. We got relegated and it built our squad. So we managed to move on all of these players that perhaps would have been what you just said, and some of them were, because as soon as we were confirmed or relegated from the Premier League, they weren't there for the last game of the season, for example. They were already trying to get a move and not interested in Swansea all of a sudden now because we didn't have that status anymore. So there was a few of them. So I kind of do understand. It's just a shame, I guess, when that gets brought into the season, and because ultimately it's not, I wouldn't say, in a position where it's unrecoverable. It's still quite early doors, and we were talking about Steve Cooper off camera, weren't we? And he did, when he got Forest up, they were probably down about where you are now, I think, when he took over, and he performed some magic there. So do you think there's any chance of a change in the manager coming down the line soon, or is that something that maybe you're hoping is a conversation, but just something that doesn't look like it's on the cards?
Look, if the board aren't discussing it, they're idiots. It has to be a conversation because the noise is at fever pitch right now. It's not just the loud minority on social media. It's a conversation that is happening because we shouldn't be down where we are. I'm not saying we have a divine right to win every game. We don't. But at the same time, the manner in which we're entering games, I can name you 2 games where we've had good performances, and one of them we were down to 10 men. That was Portsmouth after our keeper Kaminsky tried to amputate a couple of Pompey's players' legs, actually. And then the Watford game. The other games, we beat Sheffield Wednesday 2-1 at home. We didn't deserve that. It was a horrendous game, smash and grab right at the end in the last 10 minutes from a Carlton Morris double. We drew with West Brom 1-1, which was one of the most turgid games I think I've ever had the pleasure of watching at Kenilworth Road. Cardiff 1-0. We're very lucky that Cardiff got absolutely gassed, and especially Ruben Colwell, because he was running the game. Then he got gassed because he was going box to box, and then we capitalized on that. But again, very poor, turgid performance. And Hull, where in all fairness, we should have lost 3-1. They missed 3 absolute gilt-edged chances. Crazy how they missed them. Like, I could have scored those chances. My grandma, who's 90, could have scored those chances. Just imagining my grandma going in for a diving header now. And then the away performances have been really, really bad. And it's like the players are throwing them under the bus. And to be honest, when the players stop listening, it's time to get another voice in their ear. And I mentioned to you as well off camera, like he only started digging out the players after that Norwich game. Whereas he should have done it 10 games ago. It should have been after that Coventry game where we were 2-0 up at half time and lost 3-2. Should have been then. But again, that's football. And then it came out from Alan Nixon. It'll cost 1.5 million to sack him. I don't believe that. I think that's way too low. That suggests that he's on 10k a week. I reckon that's only 1 year of his contract. I reckon he's on about 30k a year. Not that I'm going to be speculating about how much he's going to be making. But if Swansea turn up, boss possession, 80% possession, and you beat us, whether it's 1-0 or 4-0, it's going to get so hostile at Kenilworth Road. And everyone knows exactly where the directors are sitting. So if Swansea come and turn us over and pull our pants down, make us look like absolute mugs, then yeah, you bet. Like a change will be happening soon. Whether Steve Cooper will want to come to us, he is the perfect man because he is like Nathan Jones. Like his style of football is exactly like Nathan Jones.
That's blasphemy, that is.
No. Whatever I know he's from the Rhondda Valley. I know he's Cardiff, born and bred.
To be fair, yeah, Steve Cooper's Cardiff as well.
Oh, is he?
He's been linked to the Cardiff job this week, I think.
Yeah, he said
that would be.
It came out saying that he wanted something a bit further up the pyramid. I don't think one place above the pyramid.
Because the article I was reading was saying that apparently he is interested in the Cardiff job. He's just concerned about his Swansea ties and the perception that the Swansea fans would have of him if that happens. So I guess if you're a bit on the fence about it for those reasons, saying you want something further up the pyramid is the easy get out of that job card, isn't it? So I don't know. Yeah. I don't necessarily think he's above Championship because the last few Premier League jobs, as much as I think the Forest fans are quite grateful for him and think he did a good job there, he have been sacked, haven't he, a few times now. So
and Leicester, yeah,
where do you start?
I thought he was doing a good job at Leicester, to be honest. But I don't see him getting another Premier League job.
You say that, but then Van Nistelrooy came in and won 3-1 on his first game, didn't he? So.
Yeah, well, that's Ruud van Nistelrooy. Have you seen his dance moves where like he's in with the what was it, the Feyenoord team, and he's like giving it the old Ted Lasso.
Again, I'm dancing on the football pitch.
I think Steve Cooper would be a revolution at Luton Town. He's exactly what the players need. The players need a manager and a coach. They don't need a friend. And Rob Edwards he's being a little bit friendly with them, like the fact that it's taken him this long to dig out the players after subpar performances consistently throughout the season. It's just been embarrassing.
Well, I hope it turns around after this week. Maybe we can be the instigator of it, That'd be good for us. Good for you.
We've heard that so many times. I hate that term. Oh, yeah, we'll start your season for you. We've had so many of these.
What I mean by start is we'll win the game and then you'll change your manager and then your season will start. That's what I mean.
There you go. I'll take that.
Yeah. So everyone's a winner. Okay, let's get back to the football because I know we got to go soon. I just want to ask then, what is the style of play the Swansea fans can expect to see from yourselves, and who would be the key players within that for us to watch out for?
I have no idea, mate. You want to know a style of play?
Roughly, what can we expect to see?
There is no style. There is no style. I know exactly what Swansea will do. Swansea play beautiful football. You dominate the middle of the park, pass it round. Matt Grimes doing his thing with us. So we started out trying to play through the middle. We started out with 3-4-3, but there was just a massive gap in the middle of the park where the ball just. You watch the highlights from Luton 1, Burnley 4 start of the season. Bam! You'll see that goal over and over again. Like they scored the ball straight through the middle. But we made them look very good. Yeah, we made them look like superstars, and they haven't scored more than one goal a game.
I was going to say this is the second. Yeah. I don't know how, but they can't score goals.
Yeah. So we'll try and sort of go long, but at the same time, we're not going long to the channels. We're going long direct to Morris's chest. Morris can't really control it at the moment. It's like his chest has been replaced by a big trampoline. So the ball will just sort of bounce off him, and we're not winning second balls. Alfie Doughty's missing until the new year. So essentially all our threat down the left-hand side is gone. And Ruel Walters, who looked decent at right wing back, he's gone. So Daiki Hashioka is going to be there. He doesn't really beat his man. Essentially, it's all down the wing. All our threat is down the wing, and our main instigator of that threat is Alfie Doughty. So now it's just going to be big diags from the back. It's going to be very easy to snuff out. Darling and Cabango are going to have, a field day. They're going to probably come up against Morris and Elijah, or maybe Elijah will get dropped. Although Edwards said a few of the players that they can't get away with how they're playing, so he's expecting to drop some of them. We'll see how solid those words are, if he actually means it. Players like Chong, McGuinness, Mengi, they might be dropped, and then we'll see who comes in. Maybe Elijah will be dropped. because he's missed like 15 chances, 15 big chances this season. It's the most in the championship. It's the most in the championship this season. Like, no one's on form. Absolutely no one. No one's firing. We might line up with 4-4-2 that becomes a 4-3-3 when we're attacking. Who knows? We're still figuring ourselves out. 19 games into the season, if you can believe it. Danger Men. Morris, if he stops dropping into midfield, if he actually tries to attack, if he gets into the box with crosses, if we cross, it's impossible to tell really. Maybe Jacob Brown, he's looked very lively. Jacob Brown could be, but the team is such a state at the moment. Honestly, it's such a state. I'd love to see Joe Taylor get a go. He's like a young Welshman, and he reportedly had a falling out with Rob Edwards, but he's been getting a couple more minutes. If Joe Taylor starts, I'd say he's a threat, because if you play a high line and we actually manage to play a forward pass, I'm not joking about if we manage, if we play a forward pass behind your defense, Joe Taylor's fast. Other than that, right now, there are not many threats in our team. It's very concerning.
I'm just worried because every time I've viewed a preview this damning about their own team, we've not got the result we wanted. Actually, funnily enough, considering they're big rivals, quite often that happens against Watford. They tell me how bad the team's doing, and then we just don't win it. When we probably should, we just don't. So we'll see what happens. It would be very Swansea-like to go up and make a howler of this one. But speaking of which, is there any Swansea players on our side that worry you that might do a bit of damage?
Yeah, Ronald. He plays off the left, right?
Either. He can go on either side. They've been swapping during the game recently.
So the one thing we're very susceptible to is pace. Anyone with pace, we're done. Absolutely done. Because we've got no pace in our side. None. And if Ted Mengi is dropped, as Rob Edwards kind of intimated, then we've lost all our pace. There is literally zero pace in our team. And we got promoted off the back of being one of the best defenses in the championship. That's completely gone. When the ball's bouncing around the box, and I'm worried about Liam Cullen as well, because what our problem is, the cutbacks to the edge of the box. And if Liam Cullen's waiting in that sort of area outside the box or just inside the box, he's going to have the freedom to line up a shot while our entire defensive line is just standing there watching him like, and it's waiting to get the ball bent around them. It's alarming. I'm very worried about this game.
Well, it'd be interesting to see. I'd imagine we will have a lot of the ball. It's just how much we can do with it. Hopefully, for our sakes, it's going to be a lot. Liam Cullen is the guy in form at the moment. I told you in your video, obviously, off the back of a good Welsh performance, he's brought that to club and scored in every game since. So yeah, maybe he can find himself a little bit of a gap. I don't know whether he'll start with Vapotnik or whether it'll be one or the other, but I don't really think he can drop Cullen at the moment. So I would expect to see him in the lineup, whether it's up top on his own or behind Vapotnik. So thanks for that very insightful conversation. I always usually end on a bit of a novelty question. So if you could squeeze it in quickly, I know it's a bit of an off-the-cuff one, but what's your best ever away day that you've been on?
Best ever away day. I'll go off the cuff then. So I don't do too many away days anymore. I used to go a lot with my dad, but now that my dad doesn't pay for my tickets anymore because I'm an adult man, I can't afford to go away too much.
No, I get it.
I'll give you the Huddersfield away semi-final, second leg, 21-22 season. Luton weren't expected to be in the playoffs that season, and it ended with Huddersfield fans invading the pitch, and I was in the third row. They're throwing coins at us. That was fun, and my day started as well. I was having a beer, and then I hear "Oi, Four Eyes" through like a fence, and then someone just spat in my face. So yeah, nice. that was a real memorable away day.
Sounds like a highlight.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember it, I guess, when you so
Exactly.
yeah.
I've done a few away days. I've been to a lot of grounds, but that is one that I'll remember forever.
Magical. But thank you very much, Ollie, from the OK Football Show. So don't forget to go check that out. The description will have the links to all that stuff. Obviously, the flip of this video will be there. Yeah, and good luck for the rest of the season. I'm hoping for your sake that things change and maybe next time we speak, it'll be a little bit more positive for yourselves.
Cheers, Luke. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but when we meet again, we'll see.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and thanks as always for listening, and we shall see you in the next one.